fascinating being part of this kind of conversation, because I think this is why we're all so confused. This is a very technical set of concerns, economic concerns, subsidies, and we are stranded in this conversation nationally and globally. Unfortunately, the language of climate change has sat very much in the science, in the problem, in a very negative sense of just how big this problem is and how overwhelming it is. There is a hugely optimistic side to this debate about our capacity as human beings collecting as individuals, in groups, in companies, at the Sydney Theatre Company, and inspiring each other to do things that actually make our world better. And it doesn't mean a hair-shirt approach. This is about actually enlivening ourselves and dealing with waste. I mean, I wish there was a government that would just say this climate change discussion should always be about stopping the wastage in our system. We waste energy, we waste water, we waste paper, we waste our resources. And while we claim as a country to be a resource-based country, I'd love us to be a resourceful country that's pulling on all of its great talents, similarly to the Sydney Theatre Company, dealing with the waste, measuring it, getting on and dealing with it, and inspiring each other. Because as many people have said, climate change is a problem we can solve. We know we've got the technology, we just have to have the will and the right signals. And if you go back to what Bob Carr said a while ago, if you believe the climate scientists, as I do and many people do, we're sitting on the precipice of something. We either have to make a decision we're prepared to lose, or we are set on a path that we'll see, maybe not in our lifetimes, but in our kids' lifetime. A set of tumultuous changes in our biodiversity services, our water services, the kind of wars and challenges around resources that we thought were bad back in previous wars, these will eclipse those kind of conflicts. So we either have a decision, as Dr. Shi has said, about the kind of life we're prepared to set up and be good ancestors. Now, if we want to be good ancestors, this conversation's got to find a place that says, maybe we need to rethink the kind of growth we're anticipating, the cost of that growth. You'll hate this, Graham, but GDP is a terrible measure of our growth.
Don't disagree. No disagreement from me.
And you've heard great economists, you've heard the head of the Treasury, Ken Henry, talk about the fact that we are not measuring and accounting for the externalities of our behaviour at the moment. So when Bernie does buy her electric car, she's making a statement that actually she's putting a value on the capital she's putting in there because she's not prepared to put any more money into the oil industry. She's making a decision as an individual, but she's sending a message to a manufacturer.
So Sam, would you back a government that said we're going to make a vast transformational change to the way we generate power, and it's going to cost all of us a huge amount of money, and set out in the way that Matthew talks about at $37 billion a year compared to how much we spend on insurance, etc. Is that the sort of vision you would like to see from governments?
Well, I want to see it from governments, business and communities, and when we do get hints of it, people respond positively. So there is a low carbon growth plan that's been distributed by the Climate Works Foundation in this country that actually says, not the same as Matthew's plan, but says we can move a low carbon growth plan, we can grow well, but we can grow in a different way using existing technologies within existing industries. But we're going to have to bear some cost, and we're going to have to change our behaviour. The idea that we keep shopping the way we shop, buying things we're buying, has got to change. You heard examples of that. And if we're not prepared to do that, then it's a bit like the discussion about slavery. Bob knows this well. When slavery was attempted to be abolished, the argument was that economies would collapse. Now, a group of people took the decision that the cost of paying wages to people instead of having a slave economy would be absorbed and people would lift and change. And I think it's exactly the same kind of conversation we should be having about our own behaviour, lifting. We're going to pay a price if we do nothing, so let's pay it now properly and understand what we're doing with great leadership and great community involvement, not get stranded in a discussion that I think removes us from what people really want to get on and do.
Well,